Let me take you back in time to the summer of 2001. The Lakers are enjoying their offseason after winning their second straight championship, where they utterly dominated the playoffs in historic fashion, finishing the postseason with a 15-1 record. Around the Western Conference, everyone was asking the question, just how do you stop Shaq and Kobe? Well, one all-around talented rival was rising to the occasion, the Sacramento Kings. After being eliminated by the Lakers in the 2001 playoffs, Sacramento was retooling. They sent their former starting point guard Jason Williams to the Grizzlies in return for the quality floor general Mike Bibby. Although Williams certainly has the more flashy highlights, this trade instantly improved the Kings' chances, as Bibby was a better decision maker, a better perimeter shooter, and a point guard with a better tempo to fit the rest of the roster. Along with that, some of their key pieces were progressing as players. Peja Stojakovic was emerging into an all-star. Their Sixth Man of the Year candidate, Bobby Jackson, was rapidly improving as well. And so were solid rotation players like Hedo Turkoglu and the NBA All-Defender Doug Christie. Leading this group at the power forward position was the 6'10 MVP candidate Chris Webber. Although the Shaq and Kobe Lakers had the best superstars, almost everyone around the league believed that the Kings were the deeper team overall, and throughout the regular season, that appeared to be the case. By the end of the year, the Kings had the best regular season record in the entire league at 61-21, compared to the Lakers, who were a third seed and had a 58-24 record. Not only that, but Sacramento had the best home record in the league, as they were famous for having one of the most hostile and noisy environments in the history of the NBA. This aspect would be a major factor for both the Lakers and Kings, because it was Sacramento who would have home court advantage in the conference finals. I have to admit, as a Lakers fan who watched basically every game that season and who was paying close attention to the progress of the rival Sacramento Kings, I personally felt that Sacramento was the better team throughout the year and was extremely nervous about the idea of meeting them in the NBA playoffs. When the games began, it was a hard-fought playoff series throughout. It seemed as if Los Angeles constantly had their backs against the wall, but somehow they kept finding ways to remain in the games. Heading into Game 6, the Lakers were facing elimination in Los Angeles, as the Kings led the series 3-2. What ensued was one of the most horrific and notorious evenings in Sacramento Kings history, and a contest that the NBA league office would love for us to forget. In the second half, the game was extremely close, but to many people, Kings and general basketball fans included, it seemed as if the NBA had an agenda to get the Lakers the victory, and to most of us, it seemed rather obvious. It began immediately in the fourth quarter as Sacramento's Scott Pollard was hit with a moving screen foul when he appeared to be clearly set. Sometime later, Chris Webber was hit with a charging foul when the defender, Robert Horry, had clearly not set his feet. In the final 2 minutes of a one-point game, the Kings were called for a foul with his incredibly clean block from Chris Webber. In the final 12 seconds, Kobe elbowed Mike Bibby's face, and no whistle was blown. I gotta be honest with you guys, these few plays that I highlighted is just scratching the surface on the amount of ugly fourth quarter calls that did not go in the Kings' favor. Despite there being many 50-50 judgment calls for the refs, the Lakers shot 27 free throws in the fourth quarter, while the Kings shot only 9. Not only were the Kings players and coaches looking shocked throughout the entirety of the fourth, but even the game's commentators were constantly pointing out the terrible officiating. By the end of Game 6, the Lakers had won with the final score of 106-102. And then they proceeded to win another close one in Game 7, securing their trip to the NBA Finals. For years, Kings fans were only able to feel as if they had been robbed of an NBA championship, but many years later, they would have some solid evidence to back it up. This is Tim Donaghy, who was an NBA referee from 1994 to 2007. He was also a criminal who was sentenced to 15 months in federal prison because he was convicted for illegally gambling on NBA games that he officiated. In the years since, Donaghy has shared stories not just about his own corruption, but about the NBA's alleged corruption as well. According to Donaghy, Game 6 was rigged in favor of the Lakers, which was because the league office wanted to capitalize on the Lakers' massive appeal, which would almost certainly result in higher TV ratings for the NBA Finals. Donaghy said that the famous referee Dick Bavetta was appointed to officiate the 6th game in Los Angeles because he was the league's go-to referee whenever a contest needed to be fixed. Some may question the validity of statements like this from a man who's already revealed his questionable integrity, but at the very least, his story seems to make sense when we consider what we actually saw on the basketball court. To this day, the Sacramento franchise has never won an NBA championship. But if Donaghy's claims are in fact correct, then they should have been the champions in 2002.